Welcome. This is an official meeting of the Country Club Board Subcommittee, which I'll call to order now. This is the biggest group we've had in our meeting in a long time. Thank you all for coming. We're going to be here till about 8 o'clock. I'm going to move public comment to the end of this because I think it's a better way to do this. We get a little more input from folks who are still here at 7:30 or so. We can take public comment now instead of then instead of now. We are here to get input from the community, from you folks, on each of as many of the 4 proposals as we can. There's one in each corner here, which are staffed by city staff. Councilors, we are here to listen. It really should have been called an eavesdropping session, because that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be listening to your impact. But if you have questions, staff will try to help you out. On each table next to the presentations are the proposals themselves. We have limited copies, so if you're going to take a look at that, please don't walk off with it. When you're done, put it back so somebody else can take a look at it. At the end of the night, you can walk off all you want. But we also have these forms, which this is a printout of what the input form is online, which you can actually complete that form online at the table over here. If you want to take this home and do it at home, you can review the proposals with this QR code. You can access the input form with this one, and you can access the Q&A if you have a question that you'd like to get a specific answer to that you didn't get answered tonight. Other than that, I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Again, you're welcome to move around the room, talk to as many folks as you can, and around 7:30, we'll see who's left, and we'll try and get some feedback.
Some of these folks that are not acquainted with the process, so if you could just recap how you...
We're going to, yeah. I want to introduce Brian Pine, who along with Stephanie Clark of White and Burke has been helping us navigate through this process, and he'll bring us up to date on where we are in the evaluation of the proposals. Brian.
Thanks, Sal. So as Sal said, I am the city's consultant, Brian Pine. I work with White and Burke. I live in Burlington and sort of started my work in this area, this field, 35 years ago in Montpelier for the Vermont Community Loan Fund is where I got my start. So I spent 7 years, more of my time during those 7 years in Montpelier than I did in my hometown of Burlington. But I think the subcommittee member, one of our subcommittee members said tonight is it's your chance really to sort of dig in a little bit deeper, do a bit of a deeper dive, ask questions of us. We're really here to hear and absorb and hopefully provide clarifications. And so, you know, use us as those resources. The process to date is spelled out on the city's website as far as all the steps that have taken place. If you go into the documents for the subcommittee, and I think subcommittee members, I believe, are all here, and at some point we should just identify who they all are.
Want to do that now?
Sure, let's do that now. So Sal spoke already, as you know. Adrian Gill, you can wave and take the applause. No. Evelyn is with us as well, Evelyn Prim from city staff. Councilor Ben Doyle with his Red Sox hat. Okay. We have Matt, and Matt is in the back. Matt Jelasic. Did I get that right? Close enough. And Mike Miller from the planning department. Yeah, Mike is here, but he's out there. All right, great. Yes, Alec is here tonight from the Parks, the Recreation, the Parks Department. Yeah. Great. So our job tonight is to provide a forum, but it's not a forum where we present necessarily. But I'd like to just touch on some of the key milestones ahead of us, really. The subcommittee is hearing from, in addition to the public input, city committees, city boards and commissions and departments are putting in questions that will hopefully be answered by the various developer teams to be able to provide the public with deeper information on issues that have been raised by folks that serve in those roles. The subcommittee meets on a regular basis. The next meeting is the 18th, and at that meeting, we'll sort of go over the remaining timeline that the process will involve. We will review the public feedback. We may dig in a little bit more to the proposals. We will get a final sort of take on the financial analysis of the proposals, which I should just clarify is really, think of it more as a review of whether their numbers make sense rather than a review of whether each development team has the financial wherewithal, because we haven't gotten to that stage yet. That comes later. To pull off a project of this scope and magnitude. We will be reviewing tonight's feedback. Hopefully will be part of that as well, and we will look to the developers' responses to the questions that have already been asked by the subcommittee. We're then going to follow up on the week of the 23rd to begin interviews. These will be virtual interviews rather than face-to-face because the teams are from all over the region. So we'll be doing interviews starting on the 24th, and that's the subcommittee meeting with the developer teams in virtual settings. We then are aiming, as a subcommittee, they are aiming to provide a memo to the council with a recommendation by April 17th is the goal. I should just say that's a goal. It's not an absolute hard and fast date, but it's a strong goal, I'd say, for the committee. So, committee members, you can help me out here if I forgot to mention anything. Yes, Adrian.
We do have computers set up, so there's 2 here. There's a whole table of computers, and we encourage you, if you feel like it, to provide feedback. Our one call to action is that you complete the input form. So there's a hard copy with all the questions. It's on the computer, so you can go in and type your input. We ask that you provide some feedback for all 4 development proposals. And if you're like me, I like to see what the questions are first, to think about them, ponder them, and then you can go onto the computer to answer them. Just to, before you leave, it takes about 5 to 10 minutes if you want, but you can also go home. As Brian said, there's the QR code. But that is our call to action today. We're seeking input on these 4 proposals, and I'll just read the questions. What excites you about this proposal? What is your biggest concern? What change would make the proposal more beneficial to the community? And do you have a question you would ask the developer? And there's final thoughts. Do you have any other thoughts or questions you'd like to share with City Council about this project? And we ask what zip code you live in, what age bracket you're in, how many people live in your household, and an email if you want updates. And so, just so you know, we will look at every single one of these responses. They're not going into a black hole. So the subcommittee, the city council will have access to every single one of your input, and we value them. We will look at them. Good.
And Adrian, you should also point out that they were on Front Porch Forum and they are on the city's website, that survey that links.
Yes, so we've tried to.
Some of your emails.
Yes, emails, Front Porch Forum, they're on the website. There's a QR code here. We've tried to make it as easy as possible, and if you don't want to use a computer, I think we have a paper form that you can fill out too if you want a paper and pen. We will take that also. Any way you want to provide information, we will accept it. So.
And you want that by Monday, latest, right?
Our goal is by Monday. So that is why we have all these computers set up. We have 2 hours. Take a look at the 4 proposals, talk to your neighbors, talk to staff, talk to council, and then you can come, sit at the computer, and write down your thoughts before you leave. Anything else?
I just wanted to add two last dates, is April 9th and April 15th is the subcommittee's bulk of their deliberations and considerations of all that they've gathered at that point. These are public sessions, so if you want to express yourself, that's an opportunity as well. Thank you.
Let the listening begin. Really, stand up. There's really not a presentation. It's all about you walking around and grabbing in what information you need. Thanks for coming.
If we have questions, who do we ask them?
There's a staff member at each of the, you can ask council as well, but there are people at the easels to help you out. And there are entire proposals there if you need to look something up. Although if you have one, take a look at it and then please put it back on the table so someone else can use it. We only have 4 or 5 on each table. Thanks, everybody.
Do one of the staff can raise their hands just so people know who to look for. So you've got Chris and Alec and Evelyn and myself.
Yeah, okay, great.
No, I just have a white screen. Oh, it's just slow.
So it looks like, yeah, exactly.
this, if you look at the plans, these are the areas that we identified with White and Bird 3 years ago as buildable areas, including this one. Everybody has, all the developers have, they all chose, and this is high density zone. They all chose to focus here and up along the north, and a couple of them, some over here, but no one has talked about, in this set of results, no one's gone that far. So all of this all together, these buildable areas, we estimate to be about 20 acres.
Okay.
With connectors and so on, some of these low density areas, the maximum was 25. If you had to connect them, count all the acres in between and so on, to connect them, total 35.
Okay.
So that's where we are about 100 acres, including this recreation area.
Is that the existing golf course?
Well, the existing golf course goes all the way out to about here. That goes out to here. But yes, this is what you see from the parking lot, pretty much. The flat area out to the left, and then north is sledding hill. This is blue now.
Yeah. I laugh about the sledding hill because it's just so funny to me.
Well, there's actually a much better sledding hill.
Yeah.
Very steep over there, but yeah,
Right. And there's only the one entrance to Route 2.
right now, yeah, that's it.
How far is it to Gallison Hill Road? Do you know?
I don't know, but it's, it's not all that far.
No, I know, because it's just like right,
Yeah, you're going.
like U32 is right
yeah,
there.
It's right over here. Not all that far. And then, Town Hill is right over here.
Right? Yeah. And Herkimer? Like Herkimer Drive, somewhere like up in here? What is it?
I've always called it Herkimer.
Maybe. Probably is Herkimer. No, not that one.
Anyway, yes.
Yeah, so that,
Herkimer is
yeah.
right here.
Okay, so that comes down quite a ways.
It does, and there has been some interest
Yeah, because one in and one out, so I don't think that's a good idea at all. Do you?
No, I think
No, yeah. I mean, if there's an emergency, any kind of emergency. Yeah.
well, we have like this is also for
They don't have, this is a possible 300 homes, right?
yeah, just about everybody.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you. No, I'm Cindy Gauthier. Hi, Sam. Nice to meet you. I live over at Franklin Street, North Franklin Street. Probably. Well, no, it's a funny those lines, but they're all
It was the Christmas at the Coca-Cola. Oh, they all ate.
How's it going? Thanks for coming. Do you have a favorite?
I like different aspects of different ones. My favorite looks-wise
Me too. Chipper. Yes.
I think I might like since this one. It really seemed to like and one is like all rental and the other one is like not.
DW was going to partner with Dow. So those two were rentals.
Like I just feel really strongly like you have an entire community separated from the rest of the city, and they're all. I have no business in getting
I know. I'm just like, why? Anyway.
It's so like this is so easier to look at a plan.
That's why I'm like, we need to have like boards, like of pictures.
You know what would be nice too? Thing on each one like this one.
We're doing that. We're gonna do that. It's gonna.
Like some of them have.
I know.
Here.
I know. It's
And
been.
that's always a problem.
They have those styles, like how do you pull it out and like standardize it? But I think we're trying to do that, but I think Sal was working on it, but it takes so much time to think of what is those variables that you want to compare.
I want to ask you something about, I don't know, I kind of like that person. Like they have like walking areas, no car.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh.
Now maybe they're there, they're hiding.
Oh yeah. You need a garage. I'll have to look at that. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, not really. No, okay.
Yeah.
No, they don't. All of them they have a garage. Like my mom has it's a button. Some of them, however, are like your off-site parking. Space. Like
Yeah.
still put their cars under.
Yeah, right. No,
Yeah, I'd have to look closer, but I thought they, I've run these proposals so many times, so I'm pretty sure they just have garages, but they might be like on the backside.
I kind of like Mr. Lane the other day, and I was like, wait.
You're like, where's the garage? There were a lot of parking lots. So I know that executive meeting did not encourage cars. I'm like, you can't not have.
I like my dog park.
It's so nice. Yeah. Have a golf cart with like big like snow tires.
Somebody like, oh, somebody. Example of someone who likes to work.
I love her. Like right there.
Not everyone. That's one person out of
Yeah, no, I think there's definitely real. You have to think be real in garages. I mean, people store stuff. And they put their cars in the garage.
Why not put garages and not have big.
Yeah. And there was like no solar panels on one of them. One of them, okay. So I thought that was interesting. Like, why not put heat pumps in solar panels? Okay, good. See, there's all these details. There's so many details. I mean, I've read them, and I'm like,
So I read geothermal and all these stuff.
okay, good.
And I saw.
But things like stick out for different people. That's why it's like, yeah.
Like,
Take a picture. Yeah.
and then like, I'm so good, like, all of them.
Yeah, no. I know. And it could have so much potential. I think it's one of the most beautiful pieces of property in Montpelier. It's gorgeous as hell. There's nothing there. And it's like on a hill. I don't know, I just love it. I want it to be something that's like, this is so nice. Yeah, I know. I know. Oh. And everyone's in. They're like, oh, no, houses. You're like, we own that. Leave it. I'm like, oh my God. We're like, we can't make up our own minds. And then like they'll start building up there, and people will freak out. We didn't know.
It's like Stephanie.
What are you doing up there? We had no idea.
Why didn't you tell me?
Yeah, it's literally gonna happen.
No, I think like, and I think it's legit, you know, the opportunity to buy. Let's spend.
Yeah. I know.
Good seeing you. Yeah, I've already filled out the survey.
Oh, yeah. They would even have a civil. I know. How's everything going? How's the play?
Play's going well.
Going well?
I don't hear much about it.
Yeah, Izzy's doing, I know she's thinking dragons.
Oh, yeah, there's some like drama at the drama.
I was like, these people are so, yes! The props! Oh my God, that's all I hear about! Yeah, so Izzy's on props, and she's like, I gotta do everything. Oh my God!
Funny, they're all like, you know.
I'm like, why are you all so dramatic? Yeah, like, I know.
Oh, that part. Oh, wow.
Yes, people. Well, Marin has to come in. They have like a conflict resolution meeting and like, I was like, but Izzy's, you know, she's going to college next year and she's had to do all these interviews and it's been fascinating. I listen from downstairs, but
Or they
they're all Zoom, but it's been very interesting because even in the real world, outside of high school, there's always conflict between the props and the costumes. That's been some of the questions. It's been fascinating.
yeah, that is interesting.
And I'm like, really? It's just like, oh my God, there's so much drama between props and costumes. Yes. Oh, no one wants to hear props and costumes.
Yeah.
Everyone's hearing all the things we said about drama.
Or we just.
We can just walk over there.
I don't say anything bad. It's like the props and the costumes and the drama. The whole place is like, what? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You can sit in your living room and chill. We just want to provide accessible ways to. Yeah, no, go home, relax, do it at home. Yeah, no. We mean the question is. Yeah, or you can just go to the website, somewhere.
If you go to the city's website, and you just go down, there's a box that'll say Country Club Road and take you into it. And it'll take, and then I think it's on the right side of that page. It gives you Country Club Road and say survey.
You can take your time.
Is the committee evaluating, looking at the Duke presentation with the largest block of buildings being down street on Yep. Down street from Hayes smaller bit of taxes.
Yes, so there are two values that we actually make.
So she's applied to 10 schools. She's heard from 5. Waiting for the other 5, which will come in this year. But right now, the front runner is University of York. They have a theater program in Connecticut, and they need like 30,000. So it's whatever school gives you. It's the same amount that it would cost her to go. She applied to Castleton, which has a theater program, so it's the same exact cost to go to Castleton. They need her
How are we going to get that capital? Capital for sale units, which have
This Saturday? Where is it? Is it on like the, where would I say that? Oh! Yeah. Okay, I'll take that Excel. Okay. Well, here it is. All right. Well, I attended a scholarship, a webinar for scholarships. I'm like, you gotta, it's still gonna be $35,000. And that's still what it costs to attend the state for Boston, is $35,000. So, like, you've got, I'm like, you're not the verb. Oh my God, that's $90,000. But, I don't know, she got into UMass Amherst, it was $70,000. Zero.
So people didn't have to go back and say,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so she has applied for scholarships. Because we don't legally qualify for zero. I'm like, should we all just quit our jobs? Yeah. I know. It's like you work so hard in your life to like be this like person you think you should be, and then like, oh my God, you make too much money to do anything, but not enough to pay for college. Yeah. All of it. And even if she gets like $1, like I'll pay $10. Like my goals are especially in technical. That is like
able to say, as designed, this building will be raised up.
we won't have exact, because we won't have exact designs, but we're going to have a pretty good background for enough to know, the transit center we built.
yes, there is. I know. Well, I joke about it. But she could go work in LA. She can work on like TV sets. Like, she can travel. She just wants to like be here. She likes to be so like she can go anywhere. And I just, like, I always think like Izzy's gonna graduate with her student loan. She'll end up doing this job because she's a millionaire. Or Abby, like, she's gonna take out this money and we can go back to McDonald's. Like, I feel like I have my kids totally wrong. Totally wrongly pegged. I was like, if we're so hard for you with these, you have no student loan, then she'll be like the millionaire. I know. She loves it. She's good at it. So I'm like, just go do it though. So we'll see. We'll know in the next 2 weeks. I was like, I want to know. I want to start planning and like thinking about like what we're doing. I know. Abby's like, you just want to buy like a mom shirt. I'm like, heck yeah, I do. Boise applied to Case. She hasn't gotten in yet, but we'll see. Her number 1 was Michigan. She wants to do that's her number 1. Yes. But hi, how are you? I'm good. But it's $90,000. Okay, yeah. Unless they give her like a crazy scholarship. Do you have any questions?
where, so you have two terms going over, sequencing wise, they're gonna make a recommendation, I call it scorecards. And you're scoring the council. Yep. You've got financial analysis, what's the process?
Oh, I know. Well, I keep telling my go to London. I work in the West End theater. I know.
Maybe we're still too close to the microphone. Someone told us saying you're really close to the
Our
microphone.
kids are in the theater program. Well, my husband's a nurse, and I keep telling him, like, you travel during that. I'll follow you, we'll find somewhere English people. I'm really like, fun where the kids even come and go to school, and I have it all planned out. And he's like, what are you talking? It's so crazy. I'm like, it'll work! It'll work! Oh, yeah.
give you some, this is a,
Break it up.
I call it augmented intelligence because it's using my intelligence to frame. And these are fixed sources. This is drawing just from the questions I asked and this one of these is done for each.
Make sure to put your.
Roads.
Yeah, I already.
wow.
Okay, good.
Okay.
There's Chinburn.
Thank you for educating. I really like it.
There's DEW. DEW, I fear like that being sidelined, but none of them should be chosen.
Yeah, I understand the position. But I'd be happy to read your analysis
That's the
if
way
you
the
want to share
rules
it.
are.
Thanks.
I mean,
And entering a development violates the federal code.
I mean, you have to mix up the sciences, like, even like childcare being embedded in senior centers. I mean, that's genius. Or is it, yes,
Yeah, no, I more.
yes,
And so,
yes. Like, we have to be thinking like that. That's, in my mind, that's what this, like, we can do it. Like, it can happen. Like, so, I did, yeah.
Yeah.
game wants off.
Well, it's running, right? You know what, honestly, like, what really helpful to me sometimes, Steve, is like when we get, I do read your emails, and I'm gonna read this, but like I actually think like citations, the degree to which you're willing to do that. Yeah, yeah. Or like when like a lot of times, I don't mean to generalize, but I find sometimes like when you'll say things like, well, in statute, and then you'll even like reference the number. Like if you can actually cite the specific language, that's like
That's what you got for you.
yeah.
Well, you got this $500,000 guy that treats you like shit.
I guess I'm talking. I mean, to be honest, like the stuff in writing is like so much more valuable.
Yeah, it's free labor. It's free, you know?
Well, anyway, you get my point. Like it's hard sometimes to like truly consider your argument when there aren't.
Then you have to ask questions and ask for a pointer or something, or have somebody trustworthy inquire further. Have Kelly.
I just think it would be great if like if you're making an assertion based on more than time, like just cite it.
Sad. Like my mom's 8 years old. She still lives.
Okay. Well, anyway, thanks for coming out. Appreciate this.
Where would she go? It was tough to speak to anybody. I think we need sense of community and belonging and like go to like a place where you can like play games or like cook with each other. Yeah. You can like put you like this place that like so that's all I'm with you. That would be beautiful. Hello. I just have a quick announcement for 1 second. Maybe. All right, well, I'll just let everyone know at 7:15, we're going to open it up for public comment. So you have about 15 minutes to mingle, and then we'll hand the microphone around to folks that want to ask questions to the group, and then we'll keep that going until no one has any questions left, or 8 o'clock, whatever comes first. So at 7:15, we will come back to our seats and do public comment. Well, did you submit your feedback? Walking around, checking out, go through buildings. Heavy will be like, you read them. It's gonna be very intense. So we want to. Yeah, so well, thanks for updating. Yeah, well, thank you very much. I'm gonna go. Well, if you have a topic you want us to talk about, we're working on it. Oh, good. Now, some people like videos, some people
it's really scary when you hear me. Exactly. Rolling Stones just came out with a song. I was like, oh yeah, we gotta get the album. My parents were too cheap for cable, so I had to go over to friends' houses.
Have you did that dance? I love it. I even like, well, what's the name? Oh,
Yeah.
like
The parachute dance, yeah.
I'm old. That was back in my day. I did that dance.
Flock of seagulls. Oh yeah. Could be part of the CCNRs, whatever it is.
Oh my God, I know. And there was people I talked to that picked up things that I didn't really pick up. It's important to me, right?
Yeah.
They're like, well, it's important to me. So, clotheslines, there you go. It's in there. I know. There's so much. Well, I put them in, I use AI, so I put them in AI, and it says, put me, create a graph, all these variables, they're all like, all right, how many like gallons of water is it? Like, my kids don't let me say
Something comes up even on Jeopardy.
I know, yes, I know, that is, I know.
I just gave Vince Will a couple of things about hypotheticals. No, about 110,000 people in Montpelier, and I said, my other question is, okay, well, we have this trucking infrastructure, and then we're going to put new infrastructure. How does this whole thing work? Somebody came up with some really solid answers. The pros and cons, I can send them out to you. We did some new work. But I said, this actually, as a real estate guy, it made sense.
I read everything people send me. I might not respond with a thesis, but I do read them like, oh, I like to see where other people come up with. You know, it's different perspectives that I might never thought of.
There are so many. You came.
I came a couple times. The winter is busy for me. My kids like in basketball.
What are you got?
We just started club basketball. I'm like, until she gets her driver's license, I literally chauffeur, and I don't want to miss a basketball game because there'll be a day when I'm not. I know, I'm preparing because they're so a big part of my life, and I'm like,
At least you have 4 hours.
I know, I'm gonna be sad when my kids leave. I'm not gonna lie. Then they're gone. Maybe I will be, I don't know. I can't imagine that, but hi Gretchen, how are you?
Second year. Yeah. Look at the
Hello. I hate talking into microphones. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and start our open, what is it called? Public comment. I always say open comment. I don't know what it's called. I think Sal's our fearless leader. He's talking. Hi. So we're going to have our public comment. We'll take any questions you have up until 8 o'clock. And don't forget to submit your online feedback form of all the great things you learned today.
So I'm glad you're still here. We wanted to move this up because people were getting antsy, maybe haven't had dinner yet. So I have a microphone that I'll bring out to people. Please tell us who your question is for. Maybe it's just for nobody, maybe it's not a question, maybe you just want to make a comment. And try to keep your comments to a couple of minutes so that we can give more people a chance to speak. So who is first? Let us know who you are, too.
Sure. Hi, I'm Mark LaRosa. I live in Montpelier. I'm also the board president at Turtle Island Children's Center. And we are a tenant up on the property in the Elks Club building. We just moved there over the fall. And I mostly just want to say the city and Turtle Island worked very well together to move our school up onto that property. And I really appreciate the support from the council, from Kelly Murphy, everybody at the city. So I'm sure we'll have a great working relationship. We do just want to make sure that our voice is part of the discussion as we develop our leased property for our program and as the plans for the new community up there go forward. I think we're excited to be part of a community. And yeah, we're excited to be part of the process. So thank you.
So concerns like this these are all preliminary plans, and ultimately, whoever we decide to work with, we will hammer out a detailed development agreement which will require negotiation to resolve issues that come up along the way. So who's next?
I just have a question about the assumptions that the city is going to do all the infrastructure work. I'm Deb Reed. I live here in Montpelier. So that was my question, is just the assumption that's stated in many of these proposals that the city of Montpelier will take responsibility for roads, stormwater, water, communication, septic, all that before they're ready to do their projects.
I can speak to that somewhat. The city has applied for several grants to handle infrastructure from the roundabout at the intersection of 2 and 302 to Country Club Road and up to the existing building. So that's one contribution that the city's going to make. They need to increase the size of the all the piping that's underground and repave those roads. What most of the developers are talking about is the internal infrastructure involving all the water and waste lines underneath the roads, and then the roads themselves and the sidewalks. And again, it's part of the negotiation. They're all asking the city to contribute that, and that's part of what we'd hope to be able to pay for that with the tax increment financing, and that's a calculation we have yet to make. So it's a very important financial calculation that we need to make to see if the tax revenue will in fact support that. Right now, we're not even sure. We need to put a number on what that infrastructure might cost, and then see what how much of that the tax increment would cover. So before we made a commitment, we would try to estimate those numbers. Mike, does that cover everything pretty much? Close enough? Go ahead, Brian.
I don't think Sal necessarily touched on the fact that we're getting an assessed, not an assessed value, we're getting an estimated assessed value for each proposal as if it were built, so that we can then really run the numbers on what, based on that assessed value, what it will generate for new revenue. So we will have that information as part of the subcommittee's deliberations.
I'm Phil Dodd. I live here in town. And as I understand it, with the CHIP, the bond to pay for that stuff can either be taken up by the developer or the city. One of the people here, this one, I think, is saying they would take it on. And the difference would be if the project runs into trouble, the developer would be on the hook for that bond paying for the infrastructure, as opposed to the city. So as a taxpayer, I'd prefer the developer bear the risk.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah, I want to ask, like, what's the rush? Why are we allowing a consultant and subcommittee to decide that the city council has to make a decision by April, Steve Whitaker, Montpelier, by April 22nd to choose a developer? But this is a brownfield. This has toxicity of lead, mercury, arsenic, and heptachlor epoxide. And it's going to be several more years. The delineation has not even happened yet for how deep into the ground that goes, or how many truckloads of soil need to be trucked out of there, or new soil brought in. And yet we're about to make a decision, or we're told that council's going to make a decision on having denied us the process of a master plan for this property, which is missing from the city plan we just adopted. State law says that we, as the public, get to participate in a planning process, but yet Country Club Road was set aside and handled differently by a different set of rules. And that's not proper, it's not legal, and it denies, even the Planning Commission felt that they were disenfranchised. They were told to hands off. This is being handled on another route. So this appears to be driven by consultants wanting a contingent fee of $300,000 from the new tax base increment. So the money that would generate from this, also that until the brownfield is done, completed, we won't know where any roads or ravines or plumbing utilities can go. So all these plans are just pie in the sky, unfounded. None of them mean anything until we've got a completed brownfield plan. And that's a year or two away, and probably hundreds of thousands of dollars. So this whole thing is ass backwards and being driven by staff, not our planning commission, not our complete streets commission, not a public planning process. And why are we allowing this to happen? We need to just put the brakes on it, get it cleaned up first, figure out the traffic, and then figure out what could live up there affordably. But if we lose the one public property where we could truly build affordable housing, I mean, not subsidized housing, but housing below $200,000 that service workers in Montpelier could buy, that will be the tragedy of the commons. That's, I'm sure you'll have answers.
Thank you, Steve. Well, I mean, we've heard that forever, Steve. The developers are all aware of the situation at Country Club. The city is taking all the required steps with the state regulations, and it'll be a part of the development agreement. At the time we have that discussion, all of these concerns will be covered. Rosie.
Hey, I'm Rosie Kruger. I have two comments. One is that the
Chinburg proposal got me thinking about the flat area being used for housing, and the other proposals don't do that. And I imagine that will be, for some folks, a negative against that proposal. I actually started thinking about, they proposed it, I understand that way because it will be less expensive to build on flat property. And thinking about how, with our flooding risks, we have a lot of flat land near the river that would be really well used for athletic fields, and that this is one of the only areas of the city that's up above the floodplain and flat. And so I think in general, trying to use, and I know, there was an earlier planning process about what we wanted for the site, and this might have been a more appropriate comment then, but trying to maximize the use of this flat space that's above the floodplain for lower cost housing makes more sense to me, because we have all of this flat space near the river that would be flooded but could be good for athletic fields. Other comment was that I think 2 of the proposals use Down Street, and 2 of the proposals would be operated by other folks other than Down Street. And I love Down Street. I'm a Down Street donor. I think they're a great organization. But I did start to think about how it could be good in general for there to be some diversity among the affordable housing projects in town, just to spread the risk, if something were to happen to Down Street, that we'd have a large affordable housing project that wasn't tied to them, and just to have a sort of a diversity of different affordable housing operators. So, I think I'm curious what Down Street has to say about that, but I think that could be an advantage of some of the proposals that don't rely so heavily on them.
Yeah, that's something, we're going to be interviewing the developers in the next 2 weeks, and it's a good question to ask them. Also hope to be interviewing with Down Street themselves. So, recreation, of course, was an initial part of the purchase there, and all of the developers have recognized the city's intent to use it for that purpose. That, I suppose, could change if the city wants it to. So, thanks for that. Who else?
So my name's David Kidney. I live in Montpelier. And I'm going to preface what I'm going to say by just saying that I just retired in June, but I spent 42 years as a public defender and a juvenile defender in Washington County. And especially since COVID, I would say that in the family court, I would say probably, and Garrett could correct me if I'm wrong, as a guardian ad litem that I worked with a lot, but I would say probably 70 to 80% of the cases that one of the main issues was lack of housing. And so I'm certainly aware of that issue, feel strongly about it, and understand the need for affordable housing. I also think, having lived here for 40 plus years, that in the last 20 years, the only housing that's really been built is affordable housing. And I, too, am a huge fan of Down Street. They've done a great job in Montpelier. But there hasn't been any housing developments, single-family homes. The only ones built would be by an individual, not by a developer. And the housing that's in the pipeline in Montpelier is more of the same. We've got a housing project on Northfield Street. It's going to be affordable housing. Up at Washington County Mental Health, that project across from Heaton Woods is going to be affordable housing. And likewise, the Rite Aid, I think, is an affordable housing project. So as much as I am a fan of affordable housing, and I think it's going to continue other than those 3 projects, because it is the most financially feasible to build, as well as the need for it, I think there's also a huge need for single-family houses, duplexes, triplexes, housing that firefighters, police, teachers, social workers, tradespeople, young families want to live in. And I know because my daughter lives here and I know of so many young people trying to get back here, that's what they're looking for, and it's really hard to find. So out of all three of these projects, the only one that comes close to meeting that need seems to me to be Executive Suite. I think Penrose has no owner-occupied units at all. The others just have a smattering few, but I believe that that's like 75% owner-occupied. And it's not owner-occupied for rich people. I think some of those houses, they were saying we're going to be under $200,000. So I think for those reasons, that's a project that I would support the most. I like the fact that it's local. Huntington Homes, a lot of my clients got jobs there. They're a great employer. They pay well. They treat their workers well. And I think they're going to build a majority of the houses with the Executive Suite. I'm not as familiar with Vecto Home, but I know they're local. I don't know anybody who works there. So I like keeping the money in our own community rather than shipping it off to Boston or New Hampshire or Burlington even. I like keeping it here in central Vermont, and I assume if Huntington Homes got this, they'd even expand and hire more people. So those are my thoughts. I think I've heard a few people say they think there's a little bit of pie in the sky with this proposal. There was another developer, O'Brien Brothers, that somehow didn't make the cut. O'Brien Brothers in South Burlington submitted something that was all single-family homes, duplexes, triplexes. But O'Brien Brothers has built affordable apartment buildings in Chittenden County. They've managed them. They've been around 75 years. They built the first fossil-free fuel community that Bernie and Becca were there cutting the ribbons, saying how great this is. So I really think as much as we need, and there's a lot of affordable housing in this, let me be clear about that, but it's owner-occupied. And I do think that it would attract young families. It'd be a place that people could, what do they call it, downsize, and then some of the bigger homes would be freed up. And I probably extended my time, but those are my thoughts about this. Thank you. And if we could bring O'Brien Brothers back into the fold, I think it'd be great. I think we really should let them submit it, especially since we were supposed to have 5 and we went down to 4. I think we should let them back.
Thanks, Dave. You know, this is the reason we want your input is for this kind of stuff. What you see here from the developers is their interpretation of what we wanted in the request for proposals. And this input is our opportunity to say, we like this, but we don't like that. So all of this input is something that's really valuable to us in the coming weeks when we're trying to figure out what's next. Anyone else? Last chance.
Hi, Polly Nickel. I live in Montpelier. I worked for almost my entire career in affordable housing for Vermont Housing and Conservation Board. And I guess the one thing that I kind of take away from that experience is the importance of having a developer who has experience in this kind of development, both multifamily and for sale, and also in property management. I mean, this is a big deal for the city, and it's complicated business anyway because of all the federal funds involved, and I just hope that we really will look for depth of experience in all aspects, from design to construction to property management, and familiarity with Vermont. I mean, proposing one large, enormous rental building with 140 units or whatever it is. I mean, that's not really Vermont. Anyway, those are my thoughts. has, so, anyway.
Yeah. Has everybody filled out a survey? It'd be great if you haven't, before you leave, you could get a chance to do it.
Hi, I'm Deborah Messing. We've lived in Montpelier for 25 years or so. About the proposal from ExecuSuite. I don't know how to weigh in on the issue of experience, although I know if you go to the websites of the individuals who are on the team, you'll find that there's a great wealth of experience, but maybe not in something of this magnitude. But other than that, as a senior, this really appeals to me, to live in a multi-generational, mixed income, net zero community. I think this is the most appealing to me, is to live in a little cottage or a duplex or triplex. And I really like the fact that attention has been paid to the needs of seniors with perhaps a clinic and a day center. And to be in the middle of a community where there's kids and then there's different age groups, and then to have the whole thing include a farm, which to me would be a real gathering place and a unifying concept, is very exciting. Also, the different modes of transportation and just in general, the cluster effect and the design of the houses. And there are different builders, so each builder would come with their set of experiences as well. But I do appreciate Polly's concern that maybe, well, I don't know. I really don't know about the experience factor, so I won't weigh in on that. But just to say this would be my choice by far.
Fran.
Hi there, I'm Fran Dodd. Lived here 47 years, something like that. I have to say, the only one that appeals to me is that one as well. When we had sessions out at, planning fantasy sessions out at a Country Club Road property, I was envisioning something that would be somewhat future-oriented, that Montpelier is the city capital, and wouldn't it be great to have Vermont concepts, future-oriented thinking involved. I'm happy to see the concept of solar panels on there. It's a very south-facing oriented property. It's also one that's oriented towards the land that's there, so it makes it very appealing. Some of them feel very urban. Is it this one? That one there makes me feel as if I'm driving into the center of Montpelier. And then, so there's a block there of center of Montpelier, and then all of a sudden a couple, some other smaller buildings and then land. And I just don't know that you need the center of Montpelier out there when you've already got the center of Montpelier downtown. One of the things that I really don't understand is the need for 100% rental housing, which is what the Penrose plan is at the moment. Maybe all of these can change, but it just doesn't make sense to me. I think there's a lot of people who would like to own what they live in, even if it's not a big fancy house. to own something small would appeal to, I think, many people. The other two, Chinburg and DEW, have some ownership, but DEW, it's 10%. 10% just seems way too low to me. It doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't promote investment in the community, longevity, ownership, connection, which is what I would think you would want. I was asking some questions about the Penrose one and what the advantages of rental is. Well, we have a low vacancy rate, so we need to make a lot of rental housing so people can land somewhere while they look for what they want. Why not make what you want there? Even if you land in some of the rental housing, maybe you'd look around at the rest of it and say, I'd like to be here. So I think the idea of having a place that you want to be, that's a valuable addition to the town, would be really good.
So I know some people don't like to stand up in front of a crowd and talk about their deepest feelings, particularly about a chunk of land. I hope that you've filled out an input form. I hope that you'll ask a question online if you think of one when you get home, something you wanted to talk about and forgot about. If you didn't get a chance to do the input, if it wasn't comfortable for you to do it here and can't do it at home, send me your email. I mean, any of us on the committee would be happy to hear from you personally in the next week or so about anything that you heard here tonight or that you didn't think to say or just didn't feel like saying in front of a big crowd. But it's been great to have you all here. Yeah. So don't feel that you've got to worry about that. I'd be happy to get your comments on my city email.
Hi, since I've only been here 47 minutes, I thought I would take a moment and just introduce myself as the new city manager. I'm Kelly McNicholas Curry. I've had the chance to meet and talk with some of you, but I just wanted to say hello. For the rest of you, I haven't. And, you know, this process started before I came on board, and you have a thoughtful team. I'll be helping that team shepherd this through, and we'll be answering a lot of technical, financial, and planning questions as the council gets all the information that they need to make a thoughtful decision to see this project into the next new coming years of Montpelier. So just wanted to say hello and thank you all for being here.
Okay, I guess that's it, folks. Thank you very much. Thanks to the staff for doing a good job on the booth. And let us hear from you if you didn't get a chance tonight. Thank you.